Out of bed and suddenly the room started spinning violently. I mean, not lightheaded and not just dizzy, but literally spinning. You try to stand up, you can't even walk, you run into walls, you feel nauseous, you might even throw up. Well, about a year ago, that's exactly what happened to me. I woke up, I got out of bed, and the room was spinning violently. I couldn't walk straight. I almost fell over. I ran into walls and had to hold on to the bed as I was moving toward the bathroom. I put a little bite of food in a little bit later, like just a little bite, and I immediately threw up. And the best way to describe it, because people have asked me this, what did this vertigo feel like? When I was in college, we would do this thing called dizzy bat. I think we did it in high school too. And you put a bat on the ground, and so the handle of the bat, the butt of the bat is here, and you bend over. So you're bent over at 90 degrees. You put the bat on your forehead, and then you walk around it like 3, 4, 5 times. And then when you stand up, it's like the world is at an angle. And you literally, it's actually hilarious when you're in college and you're running into walls and people fall over and everyone laughs. And it's worse than being drunk if you've ever been drunk or had a drink, a buzz, whatever. I mean, it's awful. Well, that's what it felt like. And everything is spinning. It's just awful. And you lose balance. And that's what happened to me. So this is last April. I'm recording this not even a year later. What scared me most wasn't the vertigo itself or running into walls. um, it was really not understanding what was happening. And I really thought something was wrong with my brain. And I thought I was having a stroke. So I tell my wife, and she's like, get in the car. We're going to the emergency room. And so we go to the emergency room, we check in, and there's like 5, 10 people in front of me. Man, they moved me to the front of the line because they thought it could have been a stroke or a TIA mini stroke. So they take my blood, they schedule me for an MRI, I meet with doctors, um, and everything they showed fine. I mean, everything was negative. They didn't show that. But I literally spent over the next few weeks trying to figure this out, and this lasted for about 5 to 7 days. The vertigo and feeling like crud. I literally had missed about 4 days of work. The first day I was just in bed. Once I got home for the hospital, I'm in bed for about a day. The next day, I mean, I couldn't look at screens. I couldn't work. The next day, I was probably 50%. Um, but I literally had spent thousands of dollars. And so finally it's better, right? And we have no idea what, and I'll tell you more about it in a minute. But and then it happens again a few months later, and then again, and then again. And as of this recording, within the last 6 weeks, it's happened 3 times. The longest was 12 days. The first day is just spinning and it's awful. I get out of bed and I'm literally holding on as I walk by the couch. And then the next few days, I just feel like crap. And then by the 12th day, I'm like feeling about 95%. As of this recording, I just got over my third bout in the last 6 weeks. I worked out this morning. I did bench press. I'm probably at about 95%, and it's been 5 or 6 days. So, with all of this happening, this is what really scared me the most. No one could explain exactly why it happened, although they did some. I mean, they were awesome. I'll tell you what they discovered, but why it kept coming back and why it took days to feel normal again and how to prevent it. And that was the most frustrating part because it took me out of work for days, couldn't get out of bed, etc. So once I really understood, I looked into this. Once I really understood what was happening, it changed everything. And not because it stopped immediately and not because it hasn't recurred and it could happen again, but because now I'm not afraid. And I literally was so scared the first time that something major had happened because I have never felt dizzy in my life. I'm the guy, I could go on amusement park rides, I could go on the tilt-a-whirl or whatever it's called, the Vomit Express, that's what we call it, um, roller coasters, never. And so, in my entire life, never having done this, it really scared the crud out of me. So, if this has happened to you, what I'm about to explain may remove a huge amount of fear for you, help you understand what's really happening. If it has debilitated you at work, which is why I want people that are professionals to hear this, and it puts you out of work for a few days, and you wonder and you think, "What's going on?" I wanna help explain it, okay? Now, I'm not a doctor, first of all. I'm just gonna tell you my personal experience having 7 bouts in the last, 10 months. So, the most important thing I want you to hear is this: doctors ruled out the danger, okay? What I did is exactly what most people should and would do, right? You go to a doctor. I went to the emergency room. I had the scans, the blood tests, right? Spoke to my primary doctor. I spoke to an ENT, ear, nose, throat. I spoke to other practitioners, chiropractors. I've talked to my friends. I've talked to other people. Oh, I had vertigo. I had vertigo. Oh, I had that too. Right, right. The most important thing is the doctors did exactly what they should do, right? They ruled out anything dangerous, anything that was neurological. That number one was most assuring. They said, "Don't worry, you'll get over it." But I still wanted to undercover. I wanted to uncover, why does this keep happening? Why does it keep coming back? And why does recovery seem like it takes forever, right? In fact, one of the bouts, the one that took 12 days, was during the playoffs for the Super Bowl. And I'm watching the Super Bowl and I'm just like, thank goodness I wasn't vomiting, but I couldn't eat. I really couldn't enjoy. It was pretty bad. So here's what happened. I started researching. I read, I asked a boatload of questions, I researched, I used every resource available to really understand what's happening. Now, as I said, the good news, in many cases like mine, it's not a brain problem, it's mechanical. And you go, "Mechanical, Dave? What do you mean?" Well, when you understand what I'm about to tell you, the mechanics of how our body works, or at least my understanding, it removed the fear. So, what is actually happening? Okay, in simple terms, in the inner ear, way back in the inner ear, you have these canals and curls and stuff. There are little, and I'm giving you the layman's term. So if you want to go research this and find the medical term, but there are these little tiny calcium crystals that are in the ear. All right. These are what help your brain detect motion and balance. Think of them like a level, like if you're trying to level a picture on the wall or something with a little bubble in it, right? Or some kind of motion sensor. And what happens is the crystals in your ear, where this little detector is, a tiny little crystal breaks off and it goes in the wrong spot. And now what's happening is your brain is receiving little signals that says you're spinning even when you're not. One person explained it this way. Imagine you have a level, like for leveling, and there's a piece of sand in there, and it's making ripples in that little fluid. It's making ripples. Well, those ripples is what makes you feel dizzy. That's kind of the analogy I use. So what's happening is your brain is reacting the way it should to incorrect signals. You're not broken. It is a mechanical problem, not neurological. Okay. Now, still go to the doctor, check it out, right? Make sure it's not neurological. But as I go on, you'll get a better feel whether you should be worried or not. Okay. So, um, there is a condition for this that the doctors had told me initially. They go, "Well, it might be BPPV." And I go, "What's BPPV?" That's the term they throw around. So it stands for benign, and I'm going to say this, I might pronounce it wrong, paroxysmal, Paroxysmal, positional vertigo. So I just BPPV. So I know it's a complicated phrase, but here's what it really means: benign, not life threatening. That's number one. Paroxysmal, it happens suddenly. That's what that means. So, Positional means it is triggered by your head position. That's key. And then vertigo, BPPV, vertigo is a spinning sensation, more than just a dizzy. And I want you to hear that. There is a difference between spinning that I've learned where you let's say you tip your head back, you learn back, and then when you're back forward, it seems like everything is moving. That's what I mean by spinning. Dizzy is the feeling like if you drink and you have 1 or 2 beers or cocktails, and you're just kind of off balance. Things aren't spinning, but you're off, right? So, what I'm talking about with the vertigo part is the spinning sensation first, okay? So, simple terms, it's a mechanical inner ear issue. That's what we call it. And we call it's just think of it as positional vertigo. That's really what it is. So when I first heard the name, it really sounded complicated. But the more I understood about it and what was happening in the inner ear, it made complete sense. And I really felt more at calm. So after the second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth, like literally now it's like it happens. I'm like, ah, crap, it's happening again. But now I know what to do after all the research. And that's what I'm sharing with you. So, um, this happens predominantly when you move your head position. So for me, it was when I would roll over, I would lie down in the bed too quickly, my head would bend back, I would move. Okay. And so this is really the influence of gravity. And here's what's happening. As you tip, so for me, it's on the right side. Yours might be on the left. I'll tell you more about how to find out which side it is. Mine happens on the right ear all 7 times. And it typically is when I go back and to the side, probably back and to the side is when mine happens the most. Leaning forward's not so bad, but back is the worst for me. So lying down in bed, lying down, sitting down in a chair, leaning over to my wife, rolling over to my wife in bed. Um, uh, uh, um, what else? I mean, things like that. Okay. So what happens is getting out of bed is a real common one because you're sitting up all of a sudden and you're standing up all of a sudden, stuff like that. So what's happening is the movement shifts the crystal in your ear, and that triggers a false motion signal. You're not really moving, but that little crystal moves, and your body's going, "Oh my god, he's moving! He's on the tilt-a-whirl! Oh my gosh!" So, and it's purely positional because if you sit here like this, here's how you test this. So at home, go like this. Don't move. Just sit for straight up. Okay. Don't look up. All right. Don't be staring at a TV or a bright screen. Just, maybe you stand outside or you sit in your car and you're looking into the distance and you just sit. If it stops, you're not spinning, but then you like tip your head back and one side or the other. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that's positional vertigo. And that's one of the ways that I've learned to test to see, hey, is this something that's really bad or not? Because if you're just sitting here and it never stops, go to the that's definitely some other potential issues. That's what I've learned. All right. So what's the fix? Um, so I researched this, and a number of the people they all say this. Oh, do the Epley maneuver. Do the Epley maneuver. So this is what worked for me. Okay, and this is what if you go look this online. All right. So the Epley maneuver is a series of head movements that you do that are designed to use gravity to move the crystals back where they belong. Super effective when it's positional vertigo and it is caused by crystal displacement. Now, I'm not going to go into it because there's so many amazing videos on the internet. If you Google it, um, look for Epley maneuver for vertigo. Just go on YouTube and you will find excellent visual demonstrations. You'll see chiropractors that'll show you. See ENTs that'll show you. You'll see some cool animated graphics. And there's different techniques. Epley is the one that I found most. There's a somersault one. You don't actually do a somersault, but it's like you're going to do a somersault and then you stand up. That one worked once. Predominantly, when I went to an ENT practitioner, what is nurse practitioner, I think, um, who's done thousands of these. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I've seen thousands of them." And so she showed me, I mean, I watched YouTube, but she also showed me how to do it properly. So anyway, and what it does is the maneuver repositions the crystals and it uses the gravity to guide them back where they belong. Because what happened is they fell out of place in your inner ear. So you got to do this weird maneuver. You know, the inner ear is kind of this loop, this circle, like a French horn or something, right? It's got this spiral. So you're doing this maneuver basically to move them back into place. So here's the thing: it doesn't fix your brain, it just fixes the crystal position. And that's why it works so well. Now, when the spinning stops, so here's how you test this. The spinning stops, right? So now you tip a little bit and it's not as bad. Things aren't moving, they're not spinning. That's how you know it worked after you stop. And that's how you know. Now, I'm going to go to the next step in a minute, but the most powerful thing for me wasn't the maneuver. I mean, it was, but that's not what's most powerful for me. It was understanding what was happening. Okay. Now, here's what's super important because you're going to go, Dave, it didn't work after you try this. Afterward, you're going to get this weird, everyone uses the term floaty feeling afterwards. Okay. Absolutely normal. This is called the recalibration phrase. Easy for me to say. All right. So after the spinning has stopped, you're standing up and you're still feeling off balance. You're not 100%. And this is where I said, now the spinning is gone, but the dizziness. And when I went to I just went to my doctor again because it happened again. And I'm like, he said, look, I want to make sure everything's cool with you. So he double checked neurological just to make sure. And he said, so what does it feel like, David? Because he's never had it. And I'm sitting there going, how do I describe floaty? Like I'm just off. I'm off. And then finally I go, having too many beers. Not so you're drunk, but it like a one or two cocktails and you're just feeling off, but that doesn't go away. So when I work out with my buddy, one of the exercises we do is we stand on one leg. So we hold the other leg behind our, bent behind us, and then we put it into we lift leg straight out. So we hold that for a minute, we hold the leg straight out for a minute, and then we do a leg cross, kind of like a one-legged squat, and we hold that. So we do these one-legged. Well, I can't even put my socks on when this happens. I can't do it during the dizzy phase. Sorry, the spinning phase, and then that's also how I know I'm not 100% or even close because I go to put my sock on one-legged, right, without leaning up against something, and I lift my foot off the ground, and like within seconds, I like start to tip over. That's what I mean by the dizzy phase. Like if you had a beer or two. Okay, so you're just not normal. So this is what's really important, and this is what I didn't learn from the many of the doctors is the term recalibration. This is the important part. This is for me. This is the recalibration phrase. Your brain is still adapted to the bad signals, and it hasn't relearned yet. And so what's happening now, it's got to readapt back to normal signals. And this is what can take days. It's so funny. I told this to someone and they go, how long has it been? I go, 5 days. They go, oh, really? Only 5 days? What do you mean only 5 days? The worst was 12 or 11, right? Whatever. And they're like, yeah, that's normal. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. That was cool. Right. But so this is a recovery stage. And I didn't understand this. It's not damage, right? So your brain recalibrates, it recorrects. And this is why you feel off balance. Floaty is the word, not normal, still like you had a cocktail or two, et cetera. So it doesn't mean the crystals have been displaced. This is key. It does not mean that they're displaced because you're not spinning, you're just off. It means your brain's recalibrating, and this literally days, weeks, and it's normal and it's recovered. That's the most important thing. Now, here's what also can happen recovery is not linear. And I just learned this because it just happened to me. Um, I it just occurred, like I said, week, 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't spinning, but it was that drunk feeling. It was the recalibration from a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. All right, so I got better, and then a week later, I felt it come back. I got out of bed. I'm like, oh crap! Again, I wasn't having to hold on to walls, but I woke up and feeling like I was drunk. And I'm like, crap, so recalibration. And but I know what to look for now. And I'm like, all right, I lie down. When I lie down and I look to the side, I put my head back, are things spinning? No, just dizzy. Okay, not spinning. I don't have a loose crystal. I'm in recalibration again. Okay. 3 days later, though, I lie down in bed and I look over to my wife, and all of a sudden, oh my God. And thing starts spinning again. I'm like, shoot. And now a crystal broke loose or moved loose, whatever it was. And I felt like crap again. And then a day later, well, I did the Epley. I did the Epley. As soon as that happened, I'm like, all right, I know what to do. I did the Epley. Spinning is gone, but I'm feeling like, crap again. Now, I'm staring at a computer screen, doing my work, things like that. Made me nervous. I was traveling to go do a keynote, so I brought a barf bag with me. I'm like, man, I hope it's not bad on the airplane. But I was in recalibration, which isn't as bad. Um, so some days feel great, some days feel worse. Again, nervous system stabilizing, so the crystals are repositioning themselves. Even after multiple adjustments, there is a caution, they say, if you do too many adjustments when it's already in place, you might, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, irritate you might irritate the inner ear maybe, and it might take longer, and I didn't know that, so they go, "Stop." Once it's in place, don't do it, okay? So that's it. Alright, now, one of my biggest questions was, why does this keep coming back, right? And this is the missing piece, and I kind of explained this, but once that comes loose, you are way more vulnerable once it happens. And I thought, well, how come it keeps coming back? And that's why I went to the doctor again after the seventh time. I'm like, hey, doc, 7 times, dude. And they're just constantly restabilizing. But once it happens to you, you're more likely to happen again. Um, so here's the thing, and this is what no one told me. Certain factors can influence how stable your system is. And I want you to hear this. Okay. In my case, dehydration was a major trigger. So once it's happened once, which could have been because of dehydration, or I'll talk about vitamin D in a second, whatever caused it the first time, I have learned I really have to stay more hydrated, because typically it happened on days where I did not have enough water. So I do a lot of keynotes, but I do a lot of virtual keynotes and virtual workshops and virtual training. Leadership, I do a lot with large corporations, large and small companies on leadership, and I do a lot of different type of day-long training, workshops, sales, enterprise sales, SaaS sales, performance, leadership, right? And so when I'm talking like what I'm doing now all day, which tells me I should take a drink of water, hang on, because this is what I don't do. I don't stop to drink. So hang on. So after a 6-hour workshop, right, doing virtual or even live, I dehydrate. And what happens is then it causes a problem. Now, what I also learned in conjunction is potentially low vitamin D plays a really critical role in calcium stabilization in the body, and those crystals in particular. So I and I'm not giving you medical advice, but understand these contributing factors is what helped me understand why recurrence can happen and why it happens. So, anyway, it didn't fix overnight, you guys. I'm still in the process, but at least I know. So, my personal experience, I improve hydration in increase vitamin D. So, I take a vitamin D supplement. I'm kind of ODing for the first 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'm gonna cut it back. Don't take my advice. I'm just what I'm doing. I take magnesium. So I do take magnesium. So I do vitamin D in the morning. I learned that'll keep you awake at night, so don't do it at night. I do vitamin D in the morning, and then I do a magnesium glycinate in evening. And magnesium and vitamin D, it's important that they go together because it helps metabolize them, the vitamin D. And mag glycinate at night will help you sleep better, is what I've also learned. So you get kind of a 2-for-1 benefit of that. So I try I try to avoid, and I'm telling you what I did, I try to avoid falling asleep with my head tilted back. So my wife and I went out to brunch. After brunch, we hadn't slept much that night, and we're in the car. It was just a gorgeous day, and we kind of put our seats back in the car before we took off, and I kind of took a little nap, and I fell asleep, and my head was tilted back like that, and then I was dehydrated. I didn't realize I had almost no water that morning. The day before, I was a full day of training, workshop, keynote. So I'm dehydrated. The head is tilted back, low vitamin D, and bam, and then it kicked it off. And that was right before the playoffs, the Super Bowl, and it was awful. All right, so um, watch that. If I fall back in my bed too quickly, I've noticed that might do it, so I do that. But now I use the Epley maneuver when it's needed. Uh, I allow my brain to recalibrate through what I'm going to teach you in a minute, normal movement. But the biggest thing I want you to hear is I understand it, remove the fear. Understanding this really removed the fear. The fear is what made it worse. Because then you're nervous and all that. So anyway, all right. So I want to talk about how I and now accelerate recovery now that I understand this. Okay. This is called vestibular calibration. Okay. Um, these are things that I have learned. It's kind of like, all right, the spinning is gone, but now you kind of got my understanding, and I don't know a lot about the science. So if you're watching this and you're, a doctor or a psychologist or you study brain or whatever, you probably know this better. But um, my understanding, lay terms, is um, your brain got screwed up for a while. Um, the vision, the balance, and now you got to recalibrate it. So walking helps. Not on a treadmill. I didn't know that. Someone said you need to walk more, so I did it on treadmill. No. So this is what they don't tell you. They're not okay. Walk outside, because what you want is that longer focal point when you're walking, not staring at a wall or a screen in front of you. It's walking, looking farther out. Don't go shopping. Oh my gosh, shopping's awful. Looking up and down and left and right, it just made me dizzy. So I'd avoid, you know, going to grocery stores for a while. I did it, but it was just it's awful. So walk, look long distance, normal movement, nothing strenuous. I had to give up push-ups, I had to give up sit-ups and bench press for probably about 4 or 5 days. Nothing strenuous. Okay. Don't go do backflips. Don't go stand on your head. Don't do yoga. Not for a couple days, right? But um, your brain is recalibrating through normal movement. But move. It's important you continue to move, is what I learned, right? Um, if you avoid movement, it's going to slow your recovery. All right. Now, there's also something I learned called vestibular exercise or the vestibular PT. Now, I haven't gone to a PT, um, physical therapy yet, but they are specific and they'll teach you these movements. One of the one I use that has really helped me is I do it 3 to 5 times a day. What I do is I look at a point on the wall, okay, and then while you're staring at the point, you stare at the point and you move your head about 30 degrees to the side and about 30 degrees to the side and back and back. Just keep your sight on that spot on the wall. You do that for about 30 seconds, and then you do this for 30 seconds. Pick the spot, slowly up, slowly down, and do it like 3 to 5 times. Each one of those about 3 to 5 times throughout the day, or when you start feeling a little bit woozy. And what I noticed is that really helps. That was one of the tricks I learned. There's some other stuff. Those were the big ones for me. All right. And it retrains your brain. Okay. Standing on one leg, that I read that. I haven't done that. Well, I do it because I do it with when I work out with my buddy, but standing on one leg, right, and getting that balance, that's supposed to help too. So it really accelerates this. So, absolute most important thing, you're not broken, right? If I'm going to give the word if your vertigo is positional and it responds to repositioning maneuver, meaning the spinning, that's when I say the vertigo, the spinning, if it responds to doing the proper repositioning, like the Epley maneuver, that's how you know it's probably mechanical, right? Not neurological. You don't have brain damage. You're not having a stroke, which I thought I did. Your system's recoverable. You can stabilize. And really, what just scared me most is that it wasn't the vertigo. It was just not understanding what was happening. So once I understood all this, everything changed, right? Remove the fear. And what I learned is fear really made it worse. And so now, like I said, it's cool. When it happens, I'm like, "Oh, crap, honey, it's happening again." But what do? Epley Maneuver, recalibrate, look up, look down, look right, screws up my workouts. I work out 7 days a week. That's the worst part for me. My buddy calls me and he goes, "Hey," so we work out early in the morning. And he goes, "Oh, you gonna work out?" I'm like, "No, freaking vertigo again, BPPV, and he's like, "Whatever." Anyway, all right. So, now I'm not a doctor, but if listen carefully, this is what my doctor told me. Okay. If you are weak on one side, call a doctor. If you have slurred speech, go to emergency room. If you have vision loss, go to the doctor or emergency, right? Just like you could have a TIA, a mini stroke or a stroke, right? You have severe headache, okay? Fainting, right? All this other stuff. These are different conditions. That's probably more neurological. But if it's classic positional vertigo, then it truly is a mechanical, meaning little pieces in the ear, and it's treatable. So why am I taking the time to share this with you? Especially those of you that are watching on maybe on LinkedIn and you're a business person. You're like, well, why do you? This has nothing to do with LinkedIn and business. See, it does. If I look, I was considering before I learned all this, I was considering filing for um, what's it called? Disability insurance because I thought, man, I'm screwed up. There's something wrong, and I can't work. I can't work. I can't get on an airplane. I can't stand on a stage without I'm like afraid I'm gonna fall off a stage. I'm afraid I'm gonna be on an airplane and be that guy that barfs. Like, so what the reason I'm sharing this on LinkedIn or YouTube, right, is for the average person or business. You all work. Most people work. Let's assume you all work, and it's gonna take you out of work for a while. But now you can explain it to your leadership, your management, your spouse, and feel comfortable. And I want you to understand, I've spent thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars, MRIs, CT scans, multiple doctors visit, ENT, right? And I had fear that no one had explained. And I really wish someone had gone to the thorough explanation in one sitting to tell me all of this. So I'm sharing what I learned to help you understand. Because when you understand it, it removes fear. And when fear goes away, recovery gets easier. And I thought something really was serious when it happened to me and with my brain. And that's my greatest gift to myself is being able to think critically and think on my feet and present, and that is my life. That's what I do. And if my brain isn't functioning, I'm done, which is why I thought about maybe I need to do disability. So what I've learned is that in many cases, again, it's mechanical, not neurological. And when you understand it, it just removes all that fear, and I wanted to share it because I just wish someone had explained it to me this clearly when it happened, and if you've experienced this, you're not alone, and in many cases, your body knows how to recover, and understanding what's happening is the first step toward getting your confidence back. Thanks, folks. Oh, I guess one last thing, and if it has happened to you, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're gonna be just fine. All right? Take care, folks.